A Tenjin virtual assistant can be connected to ServiceNow by configuring the ServiceNow skill. Once that skill is configured, a user accessing the Tenjin assistant, perhaps through Microsoft Teams, is able to look at a list of all their open incidents, view details about those incidents, and add comments to those incidents if they require. But as part of that connection between ServiceNow and the Tenjin assistant, other functionality can also be enabled. We've previously seen in a previous video how knowledge base articles from ServiceNow can be made available through the document search skill in Tenjin, but also the user can be given the ability to raise incidents from within the Tenjin chat interface directly into ServiceNow. So let's have a look at how that's set up and what the user will see when they come to raise an incident. So first of all, here's our environment for the Tenjin configuration. Let's just refresh our memory and look at this assistant here. It's a single assistant. It has two channels available. It has the Microsoft Teams channel and also the web chat channel enabled. Document flow is disabled. It has a Q&A skill with a few questions and answers, and it has a document search skill with 4 documents. And finally, of course, the ServiceNow skill is configured, and we can click on view and we can confirm with the test connection button that the two-way communication between the Tenjin environment and the ServiceNow instance is working, and there it is. So how do we make incident forms available for a user in Tenjin? Well, let's have a look in the ServiceNow configuration for the virtual assistant. Now you may remember that when you look in the list of Tenjin assistants in ServiceNow, you need to know the identifier for the virtual assistant, and in this particular case we know that it's Tenjin Dev 2124. So we just need to make a note of that so that we can search for it if we go into ServiceNow. So here I am in ServiceNow. I'm just logged in with an administrator account, and I can, using the filter navigator, find the Tenjin application. What we want to do now is look at the Tenjin assistants list. And the assistant we're looking for is 2124, which happens to be at the top of the list in this case, but of course we could use the search facility if we needed to find it, if it was further down or not easily visible. But let's go into the Tenjin Dev record here. Now previously we've looked at the knowledge tab and how knowledge articles can be sent over, but what we can also do is highlight record producer records within ServiceNow. So those are the configuration of forms, and make those available within Tenjin. So the section at the bottom which says record producers, we can go in here and select those record producers to make available in Tenjin. So let's click on edit. So here's a list of all the record producers that have been configured in ServiceNow, and let's just choose a couple of these to bring into our assistant. So I don't know, let's have a look at report outage, and I don't know, server reboot. There we go. So I click on save. Those two record producers are now selected and ready to be sent over, and if I click on send record producer definitions, those two form definitions are sent over to the Tenjin virtual assistant. So let's go back into the Tenjin configuration and just confirm what's happening over there. So here's our assistant, our ServiceNow again skill, but now if we scroll down in our ServiceNow skill, we can see the two record producers that we've selected are now appearing here. So we know that these are now available for users to choose from in ServiceNow. In the Tenjin assistant. So how will a user actually do this? Well, let's have a look in Microsoft Teams. I've already got that connected, and I've logged in and I've connected to Tenjin, and I want to look at the forms. Well, there's a ServiceNow button that you can click on if you're in a situation where it's just a skill that's been enabled. You can click on that ServiceNow button, and of course it gives you the ability to view any open incidents that you have, but it also gives the ability to raise a form. So if I click on raise a form, And it gives us our two options here. So we've got report outage and server reboot. So if I click on report outage, it gives us a form here within Microsoft Teams. So of course, when you actually enable those record producers to be made available here, you need to consider that this is a chat interface. So the forms that you enable are best if they're only perhaps a few fields. Anything too complex, it may be better to guide your users to actually go into ServiceNow and raise those kind of forms in that system there. But we can just, let's just fill this form in though. Well, BlackBerry we know is definitely not working, but let's choose email. We can choose a date. So, oops, sorry, no, we want a date in the past, don't we? And I don't know, we started it at 5 o'clock, let's say. And the application won't launch, cannot start. And I can put in, so Outlook. We know won't start. There we go. And I can click on submit. And so at this point, what's happened is that incident's been sent over to ServiceNow. And as you can see, we get the incident number back straight away, so the user has a record of what it is. And if I actually go into my view incidents link here as well, we can see at the top, there we are, 11615 outage on application email is already there. So I can click on that and look at the details of that incident as we've done before. So there we have a record producer that's been flagged to be made available in Tenjin Virtual Assistant. But the user, of course, has to kind of know to click on the ServiceNow button and then click on Raise a Form to see that. But we can actually connect question and answers directly to the form. So let's go back into Tenjin, the Tenjin configuration, and let's look at the question and answers skill and see how we can actually connect that into a record producer. So here we go, down here we have the Q&A skill. So let's click on View, go into the knowledge base here, and let's create a new question. My application isn't working. Please, he said, please report this. The application failure using the form below. Okay, so there's our answer. We hit OK. If you remember, and now what we want to do is we actually want to create a follow-on link to that form that's now available in Tenjin. So if I click on the edit button for this Q&A pair, over on the right, you'll see actually that there is an action links section. And if I click on the drop-down list here next to the link text, it gives us the ability to choose other items within ServiceNow. So one of the things that it will give the ability to do straight away is choose view instance. So in case you have a Q&A question, which is I want to view my incidents, you can do that. But of course we want to do the report outage form. So there we go. So what happens now if a user gets this answer in response to one of their questions, they will have a button which says report outage, so they can click on that button. So we can say click the report outage button. Yeah. But that's using the below. Made that bold. And of course, if we remember what we need to do when we're actually creating questions and answers, if we can, we want to try and anticipate as many variations on the question as possible. So a user might actually want to say, I want to report an outage, the software, and so right there we go. So there's another question. So let's OK that and save that. That'll take a few moments to update the knowledge base, and we can then go into Teams and query that and see how that works. So back in Teams, I want to report a software outage. And there we have our Q&A response there below, and we have a report outage button, and I can click on that. and then we get the form as we did before. So a very powerful way of linking Q&A knowledge to the functionality inside the ServiceNow skill. So there we have it. Configuring record producers and forms, making them available in Attention Assistant.